Money doesn't just change your life, it changes your mind. Before a single dollar is earned, it begins shaping decisions, fears, and desires, quietly, like an invisible force guiding everything. From childhood, money is not introduced as an idea, but as a rule. What to want, what to fear, what success should look like. It's all programmed long before awareness begins. Then comes comparison, not survival, but status. The moment money stops being about needs and starts becoming a measure of worth. And once the mind connects money to identity, the trap is set. Because losing money no longer feels like loss, it feels like losing yourself. People believe they control money, but look closer. Their choices, their risks, their fears all begin to orbit around it. But here's what most never realize. Money doesn't create behavior. It reveals what was already there, amplifying desire, fear, and power. And if money only reveals what's inside, then the real question isn't how much you have, it's what it's turning you into. What exactly does money awaken inside the human mind, and why do so few escape it? The answer doesn't begin in banks, but deep inside human psychology. Every time money is gained, the brain releases a reward signal, similar to pleasure, power, even addiction. It's not just income, it's a chemical reaction. And once that loop begins, it demands more. Not more money, but more feeling, more validation, more proof that you matter. But where there is reward, there is also fear, the fear of losing it. And that fear can become stronger than the desire to gain. This is where behavior shifts. People take risks they don't understand or avoid risks they should take, not based on logic, but emotion. Most believe their financial decisions are rational, but beneath the surface, they're driven by invisible triggers shaped over years. And hidden beneath it all, there is a force even more powerful than desire or fear, a force that silently decides how far people will go and what they're willing to sacrifice. If fear and desire aren't the strongest forces, then what is truly controlling the human relationship with money? It's something deeper, the need to be seen and to be valued. Money becomes a mirror, not of survival, but of status, a signal that tells the world where you stand without saying a word. The human brain is wired to rank, to compare, to measure position, and money becomes the fastest way to define that hierarchy. But what looks like respect is often perception, because money doesn't just change how you live, it changes how others treat you. So people begin to perform, spending not to live, but to signal, buying not for need, but for recognition. And the higher the status, the greater the pressure to maintain it. Because falling isn't just losing money, it's losing position. But status is only the surface, because beneath the need to be seen lies something even more dangerous, something that doesn't just influence behavior, but controls it. If status is only the surface, what is the hidden force that truly controls human behavior with money? It's not just the need to be seen, it's the need to feel in control. Money creates the illusion of control, the belief that with enough of it, uncertainty disappears and life becomes predictable. But control doesn't stop at the self. Money extends influence over decisions, opportunities, and even people. And where control exists, dependence follows, because those without it begin to orbit those who have it. But control built on money is fragile, and the fear of losing it can become stronger than the desire to gain more. This is where control turns into obsession, when protecting what you have becomes more important than actually living. But even control isn't the deepest layer, because beneath the need to control lies something even more powerful, something that begins to define who you are. If control is only an illusion, what happens when money begins to define who you are? The line between what you have and who you are starts to disappear. At first, it's subtle. Success feels external. But over time, money stops being something you own and becomes something you are. As wealth grows, so does the ego attached to it. Not just confidence, but identity built on numbers, assets, and validation. But when identity is tied to money, it becomes fragile, because any loss is no longer external, it feels deeply personal. And beneath that fragility grows a quiet fear, the fear that without money, there may be nothing left to show. So the cycle continues. Earn to feel, spend to prove, protect to survive, not for life, but for identity. And if money can shape who you are, then one question remains. What happens when it's suddenly taken away? If everything built on money disappears, what remains of the human mind? When the structure collapses, what's left is not wealth, but truth. Without money, the noise fades. No status, no signals, no distractions, only silence, and the mind forced to face itself. And in that silence, identity begins to fracture, because what was once built on money no longer has a foundation. But beneath that collapse, something unexpected appears. Not the version shaped by money, but the one that existed before it. Without money as a filter, everything becomes clear. Fear, desire, insecurity, all exposed without distortion. This is the moment most never reach, the point where you choose, rebuild the illusion or redefine what truly matters. Because in the end, money was never the real power. The real power was always the mind behind it. If the mind is the true source of power, then the real question is, have you been controlling money, or has it been controlling you? Money isn't just something you earn, it's something you understand. Most people chase income, but never decode the system controlling it. If you're ready to think differently, move differently, and build real power, subscribe. Because here, we don't follow money, we learn how to control it. Money Future. Decode money. Master the mind.